So the other day, I had a moment. I was walking out of Walgreens, just grabbed some stuff. Was moving through the parking lot, but I paused for a brief second and just looked at my car. Now, a little bit of a preface here, so that you know I'm coming from the right place, right? I think those of you who've been listening to me for a while, I really don't delve into like money or material things. Not because I think they're bad, right? Or because I don't like them. Money is great, makes life a lot easier. But more so because they're not really what lights me up, right? And in fact, I think they're a byproduct of the important things, right? It's like if you do the important things right, then the money usually comes. So I like to spend my time talking about the quote-unquote important. But for the first time, I spent a little bit of money on my car. I've been investing everything back into the business for about 2 years now. The convo with myself went like this: Eddie, you're in your mid-30s. When are you going to live a little bit? Right? It's like, what are you saving for? And so I did. And back to the moment I'm standing there in that Walgreens parking lot looking at the car, and something dawned on me. And I think this is where the magic is. 10 years ago, I was worried about rent. Right? I had very little other than a laptop and an old dynamic microphone that I would take with me to bars, when I was playing my set with my acoustic guitar. And it's like, think about what you flipped that mic into. Because that little mic was your starting point. And here's, where I think the value is. You can take that little mic and see it as a piece of equipment, an amplifier of your voice, something used to record. Or you can see it as a portal to the universe, as something that can transform your reality as you currently know it. That mic was flipped into a recorded speech. Our recorded speeches were flipped into a YouTube channel and a brand. The YouTube channel evolved into speaking opportunities. The speaking opportunities evolved into creating a supporting staff, placing incredible people around me. With those people, that team has helped me create scale and reach hundreds of thousands of people every day, and on and on and on. And from that continued evolution, like that continued leveling up, comes the car that I'm staring at in that parking lot, a reminder of where I started. I can draw a direct line from that cheap dynamic mic that you have to hit against the table to get to work, to turn on, to that moment in the parking lot. Growth is seeing value where you are and trading it. It's looking around you and seeing not what is, but what all that can become. See, I've used this metaphor before, but I think it applies perfectly. Fantasy baseball. I'm going to nerd out on it. After college, my friends and I played for a few years to keep in touch. And believe it or not, I learned a ton. So in a nutshell, this is how you win. You see the value where you are, value that your opponents do not see. You find that value, you highlight it, and ultimately you trade up. Every player is an opportunity. A little dynamic microphone. The question is, can you turn each one into your dream power? So, quick example, player on your team is wildly overperforming. Like this person hit 8 home runs in 2 weeks, but this guy isn't a home run. He has a 9-year track record of not really hitting home runs. So sure, there's a chance that he suddenly improved. Possible. But more than likely it's an outlier, right? So you seize the opportunity. You shop the guy to everyone around you while his value's high. Try and trade him. See if you can get 3 players for him that are currently underperforming. And squeeze the value from the moment. Take what's around you and trade up. I won't go too far down the road on that example because I know how niche it is, but I want the concept to be clear. There's always an opportunity around you to identify value and transform it into the next stair up the staircase. It's always there. What you need is always around you. We just don't recognize it. We forget to look. I heard Gary Vee say years ago, posed the question years ago, what is the ROI of a basketball? Gary said, well, for me, it's not very much. I'm a pretty short guy. I'm not a basketball player. What's the ROI of basketball to LeBron James? Literally billions of dollars. But what's the ROI of a piano to LeBron? Not much. What is it to Alicia Keys? Again, a lot. Right? And so in our own world, it's looking around and identifying what those things are realizing the mic, the basketball, or the piano. Maybe in your world, it's Microsoft Word, it's a paintbrush, it's the gym. It could be an infinite number of things. But can you see it as not just a minor detail in the great play of your life, but as your ticket to a reality you dream? Microsoft Word becomes where you tell your story, which becomes your vehicle to connect with an audience, which becomes your incentive to write a book, which brings you to a speaking tour, on and on. Like, you get the idea. It's trading up from the little fragments of value that surround it. Because if you can recognize them and give them the respect they deserve, you'll see transformation. That little mic and the courage to pick it up drove me home from Walgreens. It's the reason I'll be speaking in multiple countries over the next few weeks. It's the reason I get to share stories. Look around. There is. Are you willing to, one, identify it, and two, capitalize it? Because the future, walking out of Walgreens in a few years, will be grateful that you did. The sunrise is not what. I want to explain something I've tried to articulate over the years. But at least in my mind, I've never quite captured how I feel or what I mean. Because I think it's important. Now, a tad trivial to be seen that way. In fact, that picture, one of those memes where the top says nobody, the bottom would say Eddie screaming at the sunrise for 10 years. There's a buddy of mine who's said, go home and write a novel about it. But, truth be told, there's beauty in it. And I think we're looking for actually some of our greatest. So we're going on this one more time. The beginning. Sitting right as it opens at 5:30. My French vanilla coffee, and headed to the beach to see night turn to day. And here's an interesting thing. If you were to search sunrise Pompano Beach on that particular day, it would have told you 6:28 a.m. I got to the beach at 5:40. And this will become more and more relevant. Abreast here. And when I arrived, it was dark. There's not a soul outside, except for a man with a dog, who for some reason warned me, and another man twirling around a glow stick. Listen, Florida's the best place I've ever lived by far, but they keep you on your toes, man. So I walked by them and found a spot by the water. I sat down, and it was truly theatrical. It's almost hard to find the words for the South Florida sky in the morning as night turns to day. And as I'm sitting there looking out over the Atlantic, you can see right where the ocean and sky touch these little patches of teal and orange and pink. They start to slowly break up the darkness. Almost like someone's dipping their brush in paint and just flicking it at a canvas. Random assortments of colors. And it's very interesting because it happens subtly and somehow all at the same time. Piece by piece, these little neon strips start making their way over the horizon. just sat back, coffee, and I watched the world around me come to life. Birds start flying over the water. The sand ray, that's what it's called, started driving around, playing the beach for everyone that would come visit that day. You start to hear voices and laughter infiltrate the beach around you. And here's my thought. Here's that thought. What I truly feel is important, but have a hard time with the why. It's how people show up at 6:15 and make their way to the sand to watch the sun. Ah, obviously, understandable. It is an incredible sight. To see that giant fire emerge in the distance, seemingly make its way up into the sky, I get it. I just can't help but feel like in some way, it's similar to fast forwarding a movie to the point where the villain's already been defeated, where the problem's already been solved. It's like it's a post-game interview after defeat. The magic in my eye is the before. Before the sun rises, it's watching something so dark, so empty, so hopeless, replaced by a masterpiece that takes your breath away. It's seeing out in the distance the light that was coming. It was always on its way. Make itself known to you for the very first time. Well, as that extravagant march from nothing to something takes place above and all around you, suddenly you can see your hand in front of your face. It's like you blinked and night became day. That type of transformation, that journey from one extreme to the other, it's so incredible, so emotional, it screams hope. It makes it that much harder for me to say, I can't change, I can't let go, I can't build. It's like, look, you just watch the black of night become day. It's a reminder that things are always dark until they're not. We can never see until we can. It's just make-believe until it's real. It's a process of holding on. Sometimes it's just holding on. Until that paint begins to color in the world around you. So it's not that the others are wrong. Again, I totally get it. I get the appeal of putting the beach chair down at 6:15, snapping some pictures of the sun and its magnificence. I get it. It's real. It's tangible. It's the shiny object. Theoretically, it's what we should be looking at. But let's not forget that magic in its infancy. Because for everything that is, for every sun that rises, its origin was once darkness. Its beginning so convoluted and so bleak that
Here are some natural laws of physics which apply as much to human beings as they do to the movement of bodies in the universe. And one of these laws is that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Simply stated, as it applies to you and me, it means we can achieve nothing without paying the price. The results of your 30-day experiment will be in direct proportion to the effort you put forth. To be a doctor, you must pay the price of long years of difficult study. To be successful in selling, and remember that each of us succeeds to the extent of his ability to sell. Selling our families on our ideas, selling education in schools, selling our children on the advantages of living a good and honest life, selling our associates and employees on the importance of being exceptional people, to, of course, the profession of selling itself. But to be successful in selling our way to the good life, we must be willing to pay the price. Now, what is that price? Well, it's many things. First, It's understanding emotionally, as well as intellectually, that we literally become what we think about. That we must control our thoughts if we're to control our lives. It's understanding fully that, as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Secondly, it's cutting away all the fetters from the mind and permitting it to soar as it was divinely designed to do. It's the realization that your limitations are self-imposed and that the opportunities for you today are enormous beyond belief. It's rising above narrow-minded pettiness and prejudice. Thirdly, to use all your courage to force yourself to think positively on your own problem, to set a definite and clearly defined goal for yourself, to let your marvelous mind think about your goal from all possible angles, to let your imagination speculate freely upon many different possible solutions, to refuse to believe there are any circumstances sufficiently strong to defeat you in the accomplishment of your purpose, to act promptly and decisively when your course is clear, and to keep constantly aware of the fact that you are, at this moment, standing in the middle of your own acre of diamonds, as Russell Conwell used to point out. Fourth, save at least 10% of what you earn. It's also remembering that no matter what your present job, it has enormous possibilities if you're willing to pay the price. Now let's just go over the important points in the price each of us must pay to achieve the wonderful life that can be ours. It is, of course, worth any price. 1, you will become what you think about. 2, remember the word imagination. Let your mind soar. 3, courage. Concentrate on your goal every day. 4, save 10% of what you earn. And action. Ideas are worthless unless we act on them. Now I'll try to outline the 30-day test I want you to make. Now keep in mind that you have nothing to lose by making this test, and everything you could possibly want to gain. There are 2 things that may be said of everyone. Each of us wants something, and each of us is afraid of something. I want you to write on a card what it is you want more than anything else. It may be more money. Perhaps you'd like to double your income or make a specific amount of money. It may be a beautiful home. It may be success at your job. It may be a particular position in life. It could be a more harmonious family. Each of us wants something. Write down on your card specifically what it is that you want. Make sure it's a single goal and clearly defined. You needn't show it to anyone, but carry it with you so that you can look at it several times a day. Think about it in a cheerful, relaxed, positive way each morning when you get up, and immediately you have something to work for, something to get out of bed for, something to live for. Look at it every chance you get during the day and just before going to bed at night. As you look at it, remember that you must become what you think about, and since you're thinking about your goal, you realize that soon it will be yours. In fact, it's yours really the moment you write it down and begin to think about it. Look at the abundance all around you as you go about your daily business. You have as much right to this abundance as any other living creature. It's yours for the asking. Now we come to the difficult part. Difficult because it means the formation of what is probably a brand new habit. And new habits are not easily formed. Once formed, however, it'll follow you for the rest of your life. Stop thinking about what it is you fear. Each time a fearful or negative thought comes into your consciousness, replace it with a mental picture of your positive and worthwhile goal. There will come times when you will feel like giving up. It's easier for a human being to think negatively than positively. That's why only 5% is successful. You must begin now to place yourself in that group. For 30 days, you must take control of your mind. It will think only about what you permit it to think. Each day for this 30-day test, do more than you have to do. In addition to maintaining a cheerful, positive outlook, give of yourself more than you've ever done before. Do this knowing that your returns in life must be in direct proportion to what you give. The moment you decide on a goal to work toward, you're immediately a successful person. You're then in that rare and successful category of people who know where they're going. Out of every 100 people, you belong to the top 5. Don't concern yourself too much with how you're going to achieve your goal. Leave that completely to a power greater than yourself. All you have to do is know where you're going. The answers will come to you of their own accord. Remember these words from the Sermon on the Mount, and remember them well. Keep them constantly before you this month of your test. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For every one that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. It's as marvelous and as simple as that. In fact, it's so simple that in our seemingly complicated world it's difficult for an adult to understand that all he needs is a purpose and faith. For 30 days, do your best. If you're a salesman, go at it as you've never done before, not in hectic fashion, but with the calm, cheerful assurance that time well spent will give you the abundance in return you deserve and want. If you're a homemaker, devote your 30-day test to complete giving of yourself without thinking about receiving anything in return, and you'll be amazed at the difference it makes in your life. No matter what your job, do it as you've never done it before for 30 days. And if you've kept your goal before you every day, you'll wonder and marvel at this new life you've found. Dorothea Brand, outstanding editor and writer, discovered it for herself and tells about it in her fine book, Wake Up and Live. Her entire philosophy is reduced to the words, act as though it were impossible to fail. She made her own test with sincerity and faith, and her entire life was changed to one of overwhelming success. Now you make your test for 30 full days. Don't start your test until you've made up your mind to stick with it. You see, by being persistent, you're demonstrating faith. Persistence is simply another word for faith. If you didn't have faith, you would never persist. If you should fail during your first 30 days, by that I mean suddenly find yourself overwhelmed by negative thoughts, you've got to start over again from that point and go 30 more days. Gradually, your new habit will form until you find yourself one of that wonderful minority to whom virtually nothing is impossible. Don't forget the card. It's vitally important as you begin this new way of living. On one side of the card, write your goal, whatever it may be. On the other side, write the words we've quoted from the Sermon on the Mount. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. In your spare time during your test period, read books that will help you. Inspirational books like the Bible, Dorothea Brand's Wake Up and Live, The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and other books that instruct and inspire. Nothing great was ever accomplished without inspiration. See that during these crucial first 30 days, your own inspiration is kept at a peak. Above all, don't worry. Worry brings fear, and fear is crippling. The only thing that can cause you to worry during your test is trying to do it all yourself. Know that all you have to do is hold your goal before you. Everything else will take care of itself. Remember also to keep calm and cheerful. Calm and cheerful. Don't let petty things annoy you and get you off course. Now, since making this test is difficult, some may say, well, why should I bother? Well, look at the alternative. No one wants to be a failure. No one really wants to be a mediocre individual. No one wants a life constantly filled with worry, fear, and frustration. Therefore, remember that you must reap that which you sow. If you sow negative thoughts, your life will be filled with negative things. If you sow positive thoughts, your life will be cheerful, successful, and positive. Now, gradually, you have a tendency to forget what you've heard on this record. Play it often. Keep reminding yourself of what you must do to form this new habit. Gather your whole family about and listen to what's been said here at regular intervals. You know, most men will tell you that they want to make money without understanding the law. The only people who make money work in the mint. The rest of us must earn money. This is what causes those who keep looking for something for nothing or a free ride to fail in life. The only way to earn earn money is by providing people with services or products which are needed and useful. We exchange our product or service for the other man's money. Therefore, the law is that our financial return will be in direct proportion to our service. Success is not the result of making money. Making money is the result of success. And success is in direct proportion to our service. Most people have this law backwards. They believe that you're successful if you earn a lot of money. The truth is that you can only earn money after you're successful. It's like the story of the man who sat in front of the stove and said to it, "Give me heat, and then I'll add the wood." How many men and women do you know, or do you suppose there are today, who take the same attitude toward life? There are millions. We've got to put the fuel in before we can expect heat. Likewise, we've got to be of service first before we can expect money. Don't concern yourself with the money. Be of service. Build, work, dream, create. Do this, and you'll find there's no limit to the prosperity and abundance that will come to you. Prosperity is founded upon a law of mutual exchange. Any person who contributes to prosperity must prosper in turn himself. Sometimes the return will not come from those you serve, but it must come to you from someplace, for that is the law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. As you go daily through your 30-day test period, remember that your success will always be measured by the quality and quantity of service you render, and money is a yardstick for measuring this service. No man can get rich himself unless he enriches others. There are no exceptions to a law. You can drive down any street in America and from your car estimate the service that's being rendered by the people living on that street. Have you ever thought of this yardstick before? It's interesting. Some, like ministers and priests and other devoted people, measure their returns in the realm of the spiritual, but again, their returns are equal to their service. Once this law is fully understood, any thinking person can tell his own fortune. If he wants more, he must be of more service to those from whom he receives his return. If he wants less, he has only to reduce this service. This is the price you must pay for what you want. If you believe you can enrich yourself by deluding others, you can only end by deluding yourself. It may take some time, but just as surely as you breathe, you'll get back what you put out. Don't ever make the mistake of thinking you can avert this. It's impossible. The prisons and the streets where the lonely walk are filled with people who tried to make new laws just for themselves. We may avoid the laws of man, but there are greater laws that cannot be broken. An outstanding medical doctor recently pointed out 6 steps that will help you realize success. 1. Set yourself a definite goal. 2. Quit running yourself down. 3. Stop thinking of all the reasons why you cannot be successful, and instead, think of all the reasons why you can. 4. Trace your attitudes back through your childhood and try to discover where you first got the idea you couldn't be a success, if that's the way you've been thinking. 5. Change the image you have of yourself by writing out a description of the person you would like to be. And 6. Act the part of the successful person you have decided to become. The doctor who wrote those words is a noted West Coast psychiatrist, David Harold Fink, M.D. Do what all the experts since the dawn of recorded history have told you you must do. Pay the price by becoming the person you want to become. It's not nearly as difficult as living unsuccessfully. Make your 30-day test. Then repeat it. Then repeat it again. Each time it will become more a part of you until you'll wonder how you could ever have lived any other way. Live this new way, and the floodgates of abundance will open and pour over you more riches than you may have dreamed existed. Money? Yes, lots of it. But what's more important, you have peace. You'll be in that wonderful minority who lead calm, cheerful, successful lives. Start today. You have nothing to lose, but you have a life to win.
Looking for a way to feel more in charge of your life? Sometimes life can feel like it's pulling us in all directions, making us feel lost or out of control. But what if I told you there's an ancient way of thinking that could help you take back control and find peace in the chaos? Welcome to Stoicism, a way of looking at life that's all about being wise, brave, and disciplined. It's not just a bunch of ideas, it's a practical approach to dealing with life's ups and downs, helping you to live more intentionally and in control. In this guide, we're going to explore the main ideas behind Stoicism and show you how to apply them to today's challenges. You'll learn how to manage your thoughts, feelings, and actions to match what's really important to you. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can change and let go of what we can't, finding peace in both action and acceptance. We'll keep coming back to some key ideas of Stoicism, and there's a good reason for that. By hearing and practicing these ideas over and over, they start to become a part of how we live every day. This repeating is key to really making Stoicism work in your life, turning it from just a set of ideas into a new way to live. Whether you're dealing with tough times, looking for more meaning in life, or just want to feel more calm and collected, this guide has something for you. By the end of it, you won't just know about Stoicism, you'll have real steps you can take to make your life feel more under your control, facing whatever comes your way with confidence and calm. The great Marcus Aurelius is a great example of the ancient philosophy of Stoicism. In today's busy world, where outside noise can drown out our inner voice, Stoicism can help us find focus and purpose. Stoicism teaches us an important lesson, that focusing on ourselves can change our lives. We're going to dive deep into the deep ideas of Stoicism in our next study, figuring out how they fit into the fabric of our everyday lives. Imagine finding wisdom that has been passed down from generation to generation and is still useful today in the busy streets of New York City as it was in the Roman courts of ancient times. As we go on this trip together, you'll not only understand what Stoicism means by self-focus, but you'll also feel like you have the power to apply these timeless lessons to your everyday life. This is about growing as a person and developing a resilience that can withstand the storms of life, not just knowing them. Come with us as we start this life-changing trip here on the Trip of Wisdom. To find the unwavering strength that comes from within, let's rediscover ourselves. This is an idea that has deep roots in Stoic philosophy. In the Stoic tradition, there are three main principles that lead us. Wisdom goes beyond knowledge. It's the deep understanding of what we can control and what we can't. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, said it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The second virtue is courage, which is more than just being physically brave. It includes the bravery we need to face problems, the unknown, and even our own flaws. In the middle of life's problems and difficulties, it's about staying strong. In his deep wisdom, Marcus Aurelius says, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Temperance is the third virtue. It means learning to control yourself, live in moderation, and be in tune with nature. It means controlling our wants and staying away from too much. Marcus Aurelius told us that temperance is important for happiness. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. This virtue teaches us the value of balance and the power of a moderated lifestyle to bring about inner peace and joy. Seneca added to these timeless lessons by saying, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This quote speaks to the modern man who is often caught up in fears that don't exist and social standards. These Stoic ideals help us stay focused on our inner selves instead of stressing out about things going on around us in our busy world. Encourage us to see problems as chances to learn and grow, to look for wisdom in our experiences, and to live a balanced and moderate life. By putting these ideas into practice, we can stay true to our Stoic path and deal with the challenges of modern life with a calm mind and a strong spirit. In the world of Stoicism, living in the present moment is the most important thing you can do. People who follow the Stoics' philosophy say that we should accept life as it is and not try to change it or judge it. This philosophy doesn't mean giving up and letting things happen. Instead, it's a call to see things as they really are and act from that place of awareness. When you wake up in the morning, think of what a valuable gift it is to be living, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love, as Marcus Aurelius, a wise man in this school of thought, put it. One of the most important ideas in Stoicism is that we can control how we respond to things that happen around us, but not how they happen themselves. In spite of life's unavoidable ups and downs, this understanding is essential for keeping mental balance and resilience. Marcus Aurelius offered timeless wisdom here. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. However, Stoicism also promotes awareness and meditation as ways to improve oneself. These habits give us control over our feelings and thoughts, which is a key skill in the art of self-focus. Regular meditation gives you more control over your mind, so outside events have less of an effect on your inner peace. Another lesson from the Stoics is to be strong when bad things happen. We always have to deal with problems and difficulties in life. Stoicism urges us to face these difficulties head-on and to maintain our inner strength even in the most trying circumstances. By focusing on how we personally deal with problems, we can become stronger and more resilient after going through them. Think about a sailor sailing a rough sea. The sailor can't stop the storm, but they can move their ship. This metaphor is like the Stoic idea that we should focus on our actions and emotions when things happen in life that we can't change. Resilience is a pillar in the deep path of Stoicism. This old philosophy tells us that we all have a huge amount of power inside us to deal with and overcome the problems we face in life. Think of this resilience as an inner fortress that won't give in, helping you handle life's storms with grace and strength. Remember that it's not enough to just get through the storm. You also need to learn how to dance in the rain. Stoicism puts a lot of value on virtue because it thinks it is the key to a happy life. Think of virtue as a guide that tells you what to do and how to make decisions. It's not just about having wisdom, courage, justice, or temperance. It's about incorporating these traits into your everyday life. Working on developing these traits brings you closer to your true self and helps you grow in a way that is both deep and real. The main idea behind Stoicism is to find inner peace, a calmness that isn't affected by the chaos in the outside world. By lining up your deeds with your core values, you can actually achieve this peace, which is not just a faraway dream. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe." If you focus on yourself and follow the philosophy of Stoicism, you can find peace in the chaos of life. You're becoming it on this path. A life of deep satisfaction and resilience is within reach with every step you take toward focusing on yourself, placing virtue first, and growing inner peace. To follow the road of Stoicism, you must not only understand ideals, but also live by them every day. Being aware, appreciating the present moment, and knowing the boundaries of our power are all things that Stoicism teaches us. With courage, it teaches us to deal with problems. Take these lessons to heart and let them make our lives better, giving us a sense of inner strength and peace. Anyone looking for help navigating the challenges of modern life with grace and resilience can turn to this old but timeless philosophy for help. According to Stoicism, focusing on oneself is not just a way to treat yourself well, it's a deep way to make the world a better place. This is especially true for guys between the ages of 30 and 65. This Stoic practice, which is based on self-examination, acceptance, making goals, controlling wants, and practicing thanks, can change your life and is relevant to today's busy lives. It combines old wisdom with modern problems. A big part of Stoicism is the act of looking at yourself. It means setting aside time every day to think about your actions, responses, and ideas. Important questions to ask yourself include: what did I do well today? What could I do better? Did my actions match my core values? Being self-aware every day through this practice helps you see your skills and flaws, which leads to personal growth and development. It's like what the Stoic philosopher Seneca said: we are more often scared than hurt, and we suffer more in our minds than in reality. This quote shows how important it is to look inside ourselves to get rid of unfounded fears and gain a realistic view of our experiences. Accepting the present moment is another important part of Stoicism. We can't always change the unpredictable nature of life, which is marked by its highs and lows. What we can still control, though, is how we react to these events. Being open to amor fati, or the love of one's fate, teaches us to be happy with whatever life brings us, which leads to inner peace and calm. This philosophy isn't just about accepting things as they are. It's also about actively accepting all of life's events, good and bad, as important steps on the path to personal growth. Second, it's just as important to really focus on yourself, to set goals that you can actually reach. There must be clear, attainable goals. Stoicism tells us to set goals that we can reach, like getting better at a skill or growing as a person. This method not only gives you a feeling of direction and purpose, but it also fits with the Stoic idea that we should focus on what we can control and accept what we can't. A big part of Stoic theory is how to deal with desire and repulsion. The Stoics think that a lot of our pain comes from wanting things we can't have and being afraid of things we can't avoid. By focusing on what we can control and letting go of the rest, we can free ourselves from pain and stress that aren't necessary. In today's world, where outside forces are always making our wants stronger, this principle is very important because it reminds us to focus on our inner values and what really counts. Lastly, being thankful is one of the most important Stoic virtues. A more comfortable and happy life can be reached by making it a habit to be grateful for what we have, instead of dwelling on what we don't have. Today, when people are always looking for more, this practice is especially important because wanting more can make people unhappy. Being grateful keeps us in the present and helps us enjoy all the good things we already have. Focusing on oneself as a Stoic is a complex process that includes deep self-reflection, accepting that life is unpredictable, making realistic goals, controlling wants and dislikes, and learning to be grateful. Stoic philosophy is deeply rooted in these practices, which offer ancient wisdom that is surprisingly useful in today's busy world. They can help us live a life of satisfaction, resilience, and peaceful happiness. As the Stoics say, focusing on oneself is a life-changing act that leads to self-awareness, resilience, and a life more in line with one's core ideals. It's not just about getting somewhere on this road of self-improvement and personal growth. It's also about becoming the best version of yourself. The trip gives you happiness and a sense of meaning. The Stoic giants, who are very important in the world of Stoicism, are great examples of this trip. The way they lived and taught shows how Stoicism can have a big effect on human growth. During his time as ruler of Rome, Marcus Aurelius showed great Stoic qualities. In the complicated world of kingdom government, his rule was characterized by wisdom and justice, and served as a live model of self-control and virtue. Focusing on personal virtue and logic, his way of life has lessons that can be used for all time in leadership and personal morality. Another important figure in Stoicism is Seneca the Younger, who is known for his deep works on ethics and human nature. You can learn how to control your mind and feelings from Epictetus, who was a slave and later became a famous Stoic philosopher. Stoic thought is based on the idea that we can only control how we respond to things that happen to us, not what happens to us. His talks are full of wisdom on how to master yourself and build inner strength. Seneca, a Roman senator, was the epitome of Stoic virtue, showing unshakable courage and honesty in the face of Julius Caesar's autocracy. His life is a living example of the strength and resilience that result from a relentless dedication to virtue and self-improvement. The useful wisdom in his writings encourages people to look at themselves. Seneca's letters and writings are not just intellectual thoughts. They are also useful guidelines for living a life of virtue and peace. We suffer more often in our imaginations than in reality, he said at one point. This is a strong lesson to stay in the moment and focus on what we can change. Another great Stoic thinker, Musonius Rufus, said that philosophy is not just a mental exercise, but also a set of useful tools for living a good life. His lessons on self-discipline and morality show that he believes philosophy has the power to change people's lives. The lives and lessons of these great Stoics motivate us to start our own paths of self-improvement and inner peace. We can handle life's difficulties with poise and resilience by learning from their models and adopting Stoic principles, and we can grow into our best selves as a result. His lessons show us how important it is to apply Stoic ideas to our everyday lives, turning virtue into a way of life instead of just an idea. Rufus's focus on how philosophy can be used in real life is very similar to the Stoic view that personal virtue has the power to change people. Heracles, who was famous for his work on ethics and the idea of wikiosis, or the circular rings of concern, stressed how important it is to start with oneself, and then eventually include family, society, and finally all of humanity in our circle of concern. The Stoic view says that if we work on improving ourselves, we are better able to make the world a better place. This thought beautifully shows this. The lives of these great Stoics show how much Stoic philosophy can help people grow and be happy. We learn how to focus on ourselves, not in a selfish way, but as a way to grow in virtue and wisdom by looking at what they did. Through Stoicism, we learn that taking care of our inner selves makes us better able to help others. People who follow this philosophy are encouraged to have the four cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. This makes us better able to help others. Remember what the wise Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is what Stoicism is all about: mind control and inner strength. Focusing on our own growth and virtue not only makes our own lives better, but it also makes other people look up to us as examples of strength and wisdom. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean you're shutting out the world. It means you're getting ready to interact with it in a more positive and helpful way. In the end, the Stoic path is about looking within to find our inner strength and virtue. life with a calm mind and a strong spirit if we follow the examples of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, Rufus, and Heracles, and heed the advice of Marcus Aurelius. The focus on self-focus in Stoicism is not a call to loneliness or egocentrism. Instead, it comes from a deep understanding that by taking care of your inner self, you improve your interactions with other people. Imagine that you are a calm lake. When you are at peace with yourself, the stillness of your water makes it easier for other people to see their images. You can be a rock of support and understanding as a friend, partner, or family member if you feel calm. Your inner peace gives you and the people around you strength. As a Stoic, you have to commit to daily self-examination and becoming more self-aware. This habit of reflecting on yourself helps you make better choices in your relationships by giving you more information and understanding. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This quote really brings home the Stoic idea that being present and attentive in our relationships helps us connect better. Focusing on yourself makes it less likely that you will act without thinking and misunderstand something, which can lead to guilt. You instead build a life with meaning and direction. This way of thinking really hits home in today's busy world, where we can easily forget about our inner peace and, as a result, our relationships. These days, our world moves quickly. The Stoic practice of focusing on oneself helps us keep our inner peace. In turn, this makes our relationships with other people stronger. It's easy to see the lesson here. When we work on our inner growth, we improve our ties with others, which makes our lives better overall. In its most basic form, this is what Stoicism is all about. This old philosophy has timeless wisdom for the modern soul. We will now talk about what Stoicism is all about. Stoicism is a philosophy based on 4 virtues: justice, wisdom, temperance, and courage. These traits are not just ideas, they are useful tools for growing as people that can help us live a good life focused on ourselves. The virtue of justice is at the heart of Stoicism. It's not enough to just follow moral rules. We need to know our place in the world and make a good difference. According to the Stoics, justice means being a good citizen, a responsible family member, and fair in everything you do. This virtue helps people get along with each other and gives life meaning. Think about the story of Cincinnatus, an old Roman who was a great example of this virtue. He left his farm to be a leader for Rome during a crisis, but he quickly gave up power and went back to living a simple life when the crisis was over. Putting the good of everyone else ahead of his own gain was a sign of justice in his actions. In Stoicism, the second virtue, wisdom, is seen as the most important. It's about figuring out what's important, making smart decisions, and comprehending how people work. Wisdom isn't just knowledge, it's also usefulness, which pushes us to think about ourselves and learn more. It's like Socrates' wisdom, who reportedly said he knew nothing even though he was very smart. His wisdom came from knowing what he didn't know and always trying to learn more. Temperance, the third virtue, is all about balance and self-control. It shows us how to control our feelings and wants so that we don't go too far and cause unbalance and pain. Having temperance is like walking a wire. It helps you stay balanced in every part of your life. Think about the story of Buddha. He learned the value of a balanced life after living a life of wealth and then a life of extreme abstinence. The final virtue, courage, is more than just being brave. It means having the resilience to face problems, moral conundrums, and unknowns. There are more parts of your courage than just your body. It's about being strong in your values, even when things go wrong. This virtue is shown by the story of Nelson Mandela, who fought against racism with steadfast courage. A real example example of courage is shown by his strength in the face of huge problems and his dedication to his beliefs. When you put these traits together, they make a strong foundation for focusing on yourself. We not only improve our lives, but also have a good effect on the world when we practice wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Stoicism tells us that focusing on ourselves isn't selfish. It's how we grow our inner values so that we can live a meaningful life. Stoicism puts a lot of weight on the present moment, which fits perfectly with the idea that you should focus on yourself and not other people. This philosophy tells us that we can't change the past or the future because they are both full of unknowns. But we have power in the moment. Life happens in a split second, but it's important to keep our attention on that one time. Imagine that your mind is a ship that is always moving. It might be floating toward the beaches of regrets from the past, or going into the rough seas of fears about the future. In these situations, practicing awareness is very important. It's okay to bring your thoughts back to the present moment when they wander. Being mindful is more than just being aware. It's about putting all of your attention on the present moment. It's about enjoying the wealth of the present moment, whether you're doing something small or big in your life. By doing this, boring things become events full of life, which helps you enjoy the little things that make up your daily life. The Stoic mindset cultivates a sense of purpose, resilience, and inner peace, in addition to changing the way you view things. It gives you the strength to focus on yourself in a way that isn't selfish, but helps you grow and be happy. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean being alone. It means taking care of your inner world so you can interact with the outside world better. Let us now look at the life of Zeno of Citium, who started the school of Stoicism. He lost everything after his ship sank. Instead of focusing on the things he had lost in the past, or worried about what might happen in the future, Zeno focused on the present. This is what led him to philosophy and eventually to creating Stoicism. No matter how hard things get in life, his story shows how important it is to live in the present. And on your path to become your best self, you shouldn't ignore other people. Instead, you should focus on making a strong base within yourself. As you work on your inner peace and resilience, you become better able to make the world a better place. Finally, let this be a lesson and piece of advice for you, the audience. As you go through life's challenges, enjoy the present moment, because it's the only time you really have. In order to live a more meaningful and satisfying life, where inner peace and resilience are your constant partners, let this focus on the present serve as your guide. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said: confine yourself to the present. Let this simple but deep wisdom guide you to a life of focus, peace, and satisfaction. Think about starting a day full of Stoic wisdom, a trip of introspection and self-reflection. Not only do you wake up to the light of day when the sun rises, but you also feel deeply aware and grateful. Right now is a gift and a new beginning. In this case, you're practicing the old Stoic technique of premeditatio malorum by picturing yourself thinking about the problems you might face today, not with fear, but with calm readiness. This mental practice isn't negative. Instead, it's a powerful way to prepare your mind for the unknowns of the day, which will help you stay calm when bad things happen. Your morning continues with a promise to take care of your body. If you want to honor the Stoic ideals of self-care and resilience, this is your ode to a jog, the peaceful flow of yoga, or the energetic atmosphere of the gym. Keep in mind that you're not just improving your body. This practice will strengthen your mind and give you the tools you need to handle life's rough seas better. As Seneca once said, a sound mind in a sound body. As you sit down to eat lunch, you practice temperance. This meal is more than just food. It's a time to practice being a Stoic. The virtue of temperance is something you keep in mind when selecting your food. Not only is each bite enjoyed for its taste and texture, but it's also seen as a sign of self-control and balance. You are aware of not indulging too much, and instead focus on feeding your body in a healthy way. This action shows the Stoic idea of modesty and serves as a warning that any kind of excess can throw our inner balance off. As the afternoon goes on, it brings the problems that come with living. These are not just problems, they are chances to develop Stoic resilience. You can use every failure to remember yourself of the Stoic values and your commitment to growing as a person. You don't look at these problems with anger. Instead, you see them as opportunities to develop your character and strength. An attitude like this turns daily problems into lessons that teach us something, which is in line with the Stoic idea that what doesn't hurt us makes us better. In the evening, it's time to think about yourself. You carefully think back on your day, looking at what you did and how you felt. Self-examination is an important part of Stoic practice, not just a habit. You're aware of the times when your acts may not have been in line with your values and can see where you can improve. The Stoic practice of always trying to get better is deeply based in this process of thought. Right now is the time to be honest with yourself, to see your weaknesses and strengths. Marcus Aurelius said, "Look deeply into yourself. There is a source of strength that will always spring up if you will always look there." When you think about these words, you become clear and recommit to living your life according to your values. As you get ready for sleep at night, you think about the idea of amor fati, which means love of fate. The good and bad things that happen to you every day are seen as necessary parts of your trip. This acceptance is not a lackadaisical giving up. It is an active taking in of what life has to offer. That night, you go to sleep feeling thankful because you know that every moment, good or bad, helps you grow. This practice is a reminder of the Stoic ideal of accepting life as it is and finding wisdom and strength in each experience. Your weekly and monthly thoughts give you a chance to look back at how well you're living up to the Stoic ideals of temperance, courage, wisdom, and justice. These are not just vague ideas, they are also step-by-step instructions for living a happy life. You set clear goals for yourself to grow, which makes your actions more in line with these ideals. This ongoing process of thinking about things and making goals shows how dedicated the Stoic is to learning new things and getting better all the time. It's a trip that not only makes your life better, but it also lets you make other people's lives better. Living by the Stoic idea of being at peace with the world as the day goes on and you get deep into your work. You'll use the Stoic idea of the dichotomy of power as a guide. You have things to do, choices to make, and maybe even problems you didn't expect. In this situation, you focus your energy wisely on things you can control, such as your actions, your state of mind, and your responses. Giving up control isn't the point. The point is to use your power of choice. When problems come up, you remember what Epictetus said. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. In this way, you don't feel useless at work, but instead stay calm, logical, and aggressive. You aren't just going through the motions during the day. You are living each moment with purpose, led by quiet wisdom. This isn't an inactive way of life. It's an active one where you're always learning, changing, and growing. You're not ignoring other people when you focus on yourself. Instead, you're building up your inner strength and clarity so you can be more present, caring, and effective in all the interactions you have. At the end of the day, you think about what you've done, the problems you've had, and the lessons you've learned. This thought isn't just thinking about yourself. It's a serious way to improve yourself and grow as a person. In this quiet moment of thought, you consider the words of Marcus Aurelius. The best revenge is to be unlike him who committed the injustice. Digging into the lessons of Stoic thinkers is not just a school assignment. It is an important way to gain wisdom and strengthen the Stoic attitude. Not only do we learn more about how complicated life is, but we also learn how to incorporate these ideas into our everyday lives. The Stoic brain also stresses how important it is to get along with other people. It shows us that justice isn't just a nice idea, but a real way to show kindness and compassion in the things we do every day. This part of Stoicism is more than just how you act. It also means helping your community, whether it's through charity work or small acts of kindness. Stoics are urged to improve their surroundings by building relationships based on virtue and a real care for other people's well-being. When we apply Stoic ideas to our lives, it changes everything. It means making sure that our actions are in line with our ideals, and that every day is a chance to work on our own growth, while also making the world a better place. We can deal with the difficulties in life with resilience and composure if we practice Stoicism every day. Let's look at the story of Cato the Younger, who was a famous Stoic, to show this. Cato lived a life that showed the strength and virtue of loyalty and resilience. He stuck to his beliefs, even though he was under a lot of political pressure and having personal problems. This shows that true strength comes from staying true to your ideals. His life shows us how important it is to stay on our own road and not let outside events or other people's opinions change us. The story of Seneca, who was also a Stoic scholar, also has lessons that can be learned. Even though Seneca was wealthy and well known, he stressed the value of inner wealth over material wealth. He thought that real happiness comes from inside and doesn't depend on things outside of oneself. Instead of looking for approval or satisfaction from outside sources, his lessons encourage us to look within for happiness and strength. Adopting the Stoic philosophy can help us find our way through life, especially when we concentrate on ourselves instead of other people. There are some challenges on this road, but it is also very rewarding. With the wisdom of Stoicism in mind, let's look at 6 common problems you might face and how to solve them. First, there's the fear of change. It's normal to be scared of change, but remember that Stoicism teaches us to see problems as chances to learn and grow. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." As Marcus Aurelius said, welcome change as a chance to grow. But there are also pulls from outside sources, like work, family, and social standards. Having these things can make it seem like a luxury to focus on yourself, but it's important to set limits and put self-care first. You can better handle these outside expectations if you take care of yourself. You know what Seneca said? We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Don't let your supposed responsibilities take away from your need to take care of yourself. Today, there are lots of temptations and other things that can take our attention away from self-improvement. Set aside time every day for Stoic activities as a way to deal with this. Commit to avoiding as many distractions as possible during these times. As Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. But being impatient can also get in the way. It's simple to get angry when things don't seem to be moving forward. Stoicism, on the other hand, is an ongoing process. You get closer to your goals every day that you practice. Patience is not about waiting, but being able to keep a good attitude while waiting, Marcus Aurelius told us. If you feel alone on your stern path, loneliness might set in. Self-care doesn't mean cutting yourself off from the world, though. Join silent groups, look for teachers, or look for people who share your mind. Seneca said, true happiness is to enjoy the present without worrying about what will happen in the future. Finally, There is emotional response. Stoicism teaches people how to control their emotions, but it's okay to feel things. When things get hard, we practice being mindful and aware of ourselves. Take a moment to breathe before you respond. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." And this is consistent with his wisdom. To sum up, following the Stoic principles of focusing on yourself is both beneficial and difficult. To get past these problems, you need to be open to change, deal with outside pressures, fight desires, be patient, look for the and keep your emotions in check. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy, it's a way to find inner peace, grow as a person, and do something every day. Let the words of the Stoic masters help consolidate you as you face these problems. They will remember you that the way you get better is just as important as the end result. Ancient philosophy's light of wisdom shines brightly as a powerful tool for self-reflection and personal growth. In order to keep going, you have to look at your life and the world around you with new eyes every day. Your health and the decisions you make can be significantly impacted by this change in your frame of mind, leading to a happier life. Differentiating power is one of the most important ideas in Stoic philosophy. This idea teaches us to tell the difference between things we can control and things we can't. Focus on what you can change, your thoughts, actions, decisions, and responses. It's a simple but strong idea. These are the places where your real power lies. On the other hand, you should be aware of outside events, other people's acts, and situations you can't change, but you shouldn't let them control your inner peace. When you understand
Tingnan mo dati, kain siya kay
things
Mon,
and
kay
make
Momo.
the most important decisions in your area of
Kain na lang ako.
influence.
Manu? Manu?
We cannot choose our external circumstances.
Ano ugali yan? Ayun si daddy mo.
We respond to them.
Daddy?
This says it all. We should focus on
Hindi sila
what we can
gumagalaw-dalawa
control and
din.
accept what we can't
Manu,
replace.
lumipat ka dun sa iyo mo.
Forever
Manu!
or unfault you is another important concept in
Pumunta ka
Stoic
dun sa
philosophy.
pagkain mo, meron
You
ka
are
pa.
encouraged by this principle to
Huh?
accept and love
Hindi
everything
pa.
that life brings you. Stoicism
Kaaway eh,
encourages
dun
a
ka.
real acceptance of life's events,
Oh.
seeing them as
Grabe,
essential
di.
components of your trip through life rather than
Kitang-kita ko yung
resistance
mukha
or
niyo.
In
Sabi
your
niya,
daily
ano,
life, show
slow motion ba?
unreflective by being open to both happiness and
Ayan
sadness.
o.
When you face problems or burdens,
Matukan mo nga
tell
yan, Dad.
yourself that they are not just problems, but
Slow
also
motion pa sabi niya.
chances to grow and develop as a
Mas
person.
lahat ng eh.
Every problem teaches you something, and one of the most important things you can do to
Grabe,
achieve
para siyang
action
ano, bully
is to
talaga
learn
sa
to
dad. Alam mo
value
yung
these
mga
lessons.
sa'yo.
Memento
Tingnan mo, Dad.
mori,
Tingnan mo.
Latin saying that
Kita-kita mo,
means
di ba?
remember death. This may sound sad at first, but it's really about realizing that life is short. It is a strong warning to
Oy, 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 Manu!
realize
Doon ka sa pagkain mo.
and enjoy every moment. By thinking about
Manu!
what life is, you develop a sense of
Kumain ka.
urgency.
May pagkain ka pa doon, di ba? Ubusin mo yun. Ano ka dito? Ubusin mo muna.
This habit will help you make the most of your time.
Kain mo muna
Set
yun.
priorities for your goals.
Hindi yan, hindi yan, hindi yan. Hindi yan. Manu, Manu. Ubusin mo muna
Instead
yung
of getting sidetracked by
Ayan,
other
pagkain
things.
mo. Ubusin mo
In
yan.
Stoic philosophy, the right
Manu,
to choose
ubusin mo
is
na to.
just as important.
Dali.
The idea behind this theory
Ubusin mo
is
yung
that
food
you
mo.
always have the power to choose
Food
what
or...
you want, no matter what. This thought gives you a lot of power because it puts the responsibility for your response firmly on your shoulders. In everyday life, this means that you have to keep telling yourself of this power. When you face problems or failures, think about how you can respond in a way that is in line with your beliefs and values. A simple change in your state of mind can often change how you react, leading to better and more helpful results. The idea of not caring about what happens in the outside world is another important part of Stoicism. Stoics think that things that happen in the outside world are mostly neutral, whether we think they are good or bad. What really counts is how you handle these events. You can find inner peace and happiness with
May medyo ubos na?
Practicing this kind of indifference means changing how you think about the things that happen in your life. When bad things happen, look at them as chances to grow and improve as a person. Changing your attitude is an important part of getting better at yourself. If you work on yourself every day, you'll become a more moral and well-rounded person. Now think about the story of a farmer who lost his horse, which his friends thought was bad. But the farmer got there.
Gusto ni Manong ano kasi may buko na lang.
The horse came back to the group of wild.
Yung buko kasi ginawa ko na yung laman. Tapos inumin mo na yung sa rep na. Ilagay ko na sa rep yung sabaw. Pero kaya gusto rin ni Momo dahil may patsit. Mano, ayan ang mano. Pati nila ka ni Momo ng buko.
Lagay ko na sa rep.
These habits will not only help you grow as a person, but they will also help you live a more satisfying and moral life. If you take a trip with Stoic philosophy, you'll find that it has effects that go far beyond helping you improve yourself. You'll see the world differently and experience big changes in your life because of it. Let's look at these factors that change things. Start by saying that Stoicism brings peace and calm to your inner self. You learn to be in the present and not care about the chaos going on around you, which gives you a deep sense of inner calm. When you pay more attention to your actions and decisions instead of what other people do, life's changes don't bother you as much. Another thing that Stoic practice does is make you more self-aware. It's not just a philosophy, it's a way of life that requires you to think about yourself every day. This helps you figure out your skills and flaws. This journey of self-discovery helps you act in a way that is true to who you are and makes you more aware of your ideals and goals. Stoicism also stresses doing good things for other people. It's not just about growing as a person, it's also about living in an honest way and making a difference in the world. Stoic qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance help and encourage those around you, which has a good effect on society as a whole. Stoicism helps you be patient when bad things happen. Resilience and moral steadfastness are used to meet challenges rather than depression. With this philosophy, you can handle the hard things in life with a steady mind. Stoicism also changes the way you interact with other people. You become a more understanding and caring friend, partner, and family member as a result of the justice, kindness, and fairness lessons it teaches. People in your group will find strength in the inner peace you work on. Another thing that Stoic practice does is help people make better decisions. Stoicism helps you make decisions that are in line with your core values and principles. This gives you focus and purpose as you go through life's challenges. You can make choices that are true to yourself with the help of the wisdom you gain from studying Stoic ideas. Finally, Stoicism is a way to improve yourself and be happy. Self-improvement is at the heart of this philosophy. By focused on yourself and having a good life, you can achieve deep personal growth and long-lasting happiness. You have power over your inner mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, as the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said. For many people, focusing on themselves through the view of Stoicism is like steering a ship through the vast and often rough sea of life. The development of inner peace and self-improvement are aided by this old philosophy, which is grounded in real wisdom. Engaging with and following the Stoic principles in our daily lives starts a process of change that can result in big changes in our personalities. Stoicism is not a strict or fixed religion. Instead, it is a system that is easy to change and adapt to the complicated world we live in now. It promotes the ideals of self-reflection, self-awareness, and always getting better. Finding inner peace and happiness separate from the constantly changing outside world is easier with this philosophy. We can live a purposeful, patient, and peaceful life by incorporating Stoic values like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance into our daily lives. In turn, this makes our relationships stronger and our services to society bigger. Stoicism has the power to change us by making us focus on ourselves, which can lead to changes that last a lifetime. To sum up Stoicism, the great philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not waste time arguing about what a good man should be." This quote shows how important it is to focus on personal growth rather than seeking approval from others. By focusing on getting better, we start the process of becoming the best versions of ourselves. In addition to our own gain, this path gives others hope and courage. Focusing on oneself is an ancient Stoic practice that is even more useful in modern life, where there are many distractions and a lot of stress. In the middle of chaos, it provides a safe haven of tranquility and a guide to resilience. People are not told to be selfish when they are told to focus on themselves. Instead, they are told to build a strong, good character that can handle life's difficulties and make the world a better place. When someone insulted you, did it make you feel mad, hurt, or ashamed? Sometimes you wish you could say or do something that would make them feel bad about what they did or said. No, you're not the only one this happens to. Many people find it hard to deal with comments and put-downs, especially in the world of social media and internet trolling we live in now. If I told you there was a way to deal with insults with class, grace, and wisdom, would you believe me? A way to protect your health and self-esteem, while also making the person who insulted you see how stupid they were and respect you more. A method that is based on an age-old philosophy that has passed the test of time and has been used by some of the smartest and most powerful minds in history. That is how Stoicism works. Building inner strength, resilience, and calmness in the face of trouble is what it does. It also gives us useful tools and methods to deal with insults and other problems that life brings our way. Now I'm going to give you 25 Stoic lessons that will help you handle insults smartly. These lessons are based on what Stoic thinkers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius said. These people had a lot of problems and insults in their lives, but they never let them get in the way of their happiness and peace of mind. By using what you've learned, you can turn any insult into a chance to learn, grow, and get better. You can also make someone who insults you instantly feel bad about what they did and say, and maybe even change how they feel about you for the better. First, let's get started. Instruction 1. Insults don't hurt us. Let's learn from Stoicism's first and most important lesson. Insults don't hurt us. These things happen in the outside world and don't affect our real selves, which are our good and sensible minds. It is not he who reviles or strikes you who insults you, but your opinion that these things are insulting, said Epictetus, a once slave-turned-Stoic master. This means that what someone says or does to us doesn't insult us. How we think about it and respond to it does. When we let someone attack us, we give them power over our feelings and decisions. But we can take that power away by choosing not to be upset and seeing the insult for what it is, a sound or an action that doesn't mean anything. Insults were like dogs barking or flies buzzing. They're annoying but not dangerous, according to the Stoics. They only show how stupid and weak the person is who is insulting us because they are sad or nervous themselves. They don't get to our heart, which is our reason and virtue. The best way to get even with let them enjoy seeing you upset or angry. Instead, keep your cool and show them that you are bigger than their stupid words and actions. That's it for lesson 2. Have fun. The second thing Stoicism tells us is that the best way to deal with insults is to laugh them off. If someone insults you, humor can take away their power and make them look stupid. Also, it can ease the stress and make you feel better. The best way to bear insults is to make fun of them, said Seneca, a Roman politician and Stoic author. The Stoics were not as serious and straight-faced as some people might think. They had a sharp and witty sense of humor that they often used to deal with insults and ridicule. Someone called Theogenes of Sinope, the founder of Cynicism and an influence on Stoicism, a dog. He replied, "Yes, and you are my master, for you throw bones at me, and I catch them." Someone asked the lame Epictetus how he became a philosopher. He said, "The same way that you became a human being." And when someone said Marcus Aurelius was a philosopher, he said, "If only it were true." So the next time someone insults you, try to find similar quotes. Say something sarcastic, funny, or a pun. Be funny and sure of yourself to show them that you don't take what they say seriously. In addition to making you feel better, this will make them feel bad about themselves. Third, see the insult for what it is. Stoicism's third lesson is that we should see insults for what they really are. We shouldn't take it at face value. Instead, we should think about it logically and objectively. We should ask ourselves if the insult is legitimate. Is it important? Matters it? Should we give it our attention and answer? Stoics thought that we should only care about things that are true, important, within our control, and within our control. They thought that everything else was unimportant and did not matter. Don't explain your philosophy, live it, Epictetus said. This means that when someone insults us, we shouldn't respond emotionally, but logically. We should not let our egos get in the way. Instead, we should use wisdom and logic, not protective, but honest and humble. We ought to be interested and open-minded rather than outraged. It's okay to say the attack is true. We should learn from it. You should see it as a chance to get better and fix what's wrong. We should thank the person who insulted us for showing us our flaws and making us better people. People should avoid and dismiss insults that aren't true. This is not the time or energy to try to prove ourselves or protect our image. People shouldn't be able to tell us who we are or what we stand for. Only we can do that. Remember that what we do speaks louder than what we say, and that the truth will always win out. If the insult doesn't mean anything, we should just laugh it off and move on. It should not take our attention away from our ideals and goals. Not what other people think or say about us, but what matters to us and what we can change. Remember that we're not here to make everyone happy. We're here to live our lives the way our nature and reason tell us to. We ought to react with kindness and wisdom if the insult is significant. Instead of getting angry or violent, we should show kindness and understanding, rather than putting ourselves down to the level
tumutunog pa? Bakit tumutunog? Yung ano yun, yung electric stove? Saan ako nakapay? Ay, makarami.
A long journey here for me from the farms of southern Idaho, where I grew up, to, next door to Disneyland, with all the spotlights and cameras and all of you here. It's just a bit much, unbelievable. I did my first self-pay seminar in 1963 at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills, California, called Adventures in Achievement. So this now makes my year number 41. So, a lot of years. And my big purpose now is to keep my journey going. I just got back from Argentina last week, and next week I go to Venezuela. Toward the end of the month, back to Italy and Europe. A little later in the year, Asia, South Africa, and Australia, and who knows where else. So from my travels around the world, I just really dropped by to say hello and share some ideas. I'm thankful for the opportunity to share these ideas one more time. The ideas I want to share with you so dramatically changed my life. I'm always excited about the opportunity to share them, one more time. I quit school at age 19, unfortunately. My reasoning was, I'm smart enough to get a job. How much smarter do you need to be? And with that bit of shallow thinking, I quit school at age 19. A little while later, I went to work. A little while later, got married, started this little family. And I'm out there working hard, doing the best I could. But falling a little bit behind every year. Finally, the creditors once in a while are starting to call, saying, you told us the check was in the mail. And I'm embarrassed by that. And then I'm sure some of you, if you've listened to my cassette tapes or the CDs or heard some of my material, the Girl Scout story finally occurred at age 25. I hear this knock on the door. I go to the door, and there's this Girl Scout, about this tall, selling cookies for the Girl Scouts. And she gave me one of the finest sales presentations I've ever heard. Special deal, several flavors, Girl Scouts, best organization in the world, only $2. And with a big smile, she very politely asked me to buy. No problem. I wanted to buy. Big problem. I didn't have $2 in my pocket. I'm a grown man. I live in America. I'm married with a family. I've been to college 1 year. And I've been working for 6 years, from age 19 to 25, and I didn't have the $2 in my pocket. And I didn't want to tell her that. That seemed too embarrassing. So I did what I thought was next best. I lied to her. And I said, look, we've already bought lots of Girl Scout cookies. We've still got plenty in the house. We haven't eaten. She said, oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. And she leaves. When she leaves, I say to myself, I don't want to live like this anymore. I mean, how low can you get lying to a Girl Scout, right? I mean, that's the ultimate. So I started my search that day, and sure enough, very shortly I met this extraordinary man by the name of Mr. Earl Shope, and my life was never the same after that. Chris mentioned ideas, and that's where this whole flow of unique ideas started for me, age 25. I had the opportunity to go to work for this extraordinary man. I worked for him for 5 years, then unfortunately he died, age 49. But the things he taught me during that 5 years transformed my economic life especially, but my personal life, my leadership chances, all of that came from that unique experience. So maybe it's true when the student is ready. When someone says, I've had it, this is it, I don't want to live like this anymore, and then you begin a new search. So make this note now for the first of the notes we're going to share in my portion for today. If you start to search, the odds are excellent you will find good ideas. If you search, you will find. Finding is reserved for those that search. Ideas are not reserved for those that hope. They're not reserved for those that wish. They're not reserved for those who complain. Good ideas are reserved for those that search. So the first thing I want to do is congratulate all of you for being here, continuing your search, spending the money and spending the time to come and spend a few days, and see if you can't, through the accumulation of hours and speakers that we have during this weekend, go home with a harvest of good ideas for your business, for your life, for your marriage, for your friendships, for your economic future, and, for all of the rest. We've all heard the expression, nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come. How very true. The walls came tumbling down about 15, 16 years ago in Germany, and the time had come for capitalism to finally reach those unfortunate countries that have been dominated by communism for so long. And that idea now is beginning to flourish. I've been teaching capitalism now for the last 10 years in Russia. I've made 5 trips to all the major cities. It's incredible when an idea finally comes and the time is right. What can happen? So, ideas, when an idea and its time is ready, it can be incredible. But now here's the next part for your notes. Nothing so powerful as an idea that comes at the right time. And hopefully today for you and the rest of this series of good trainings, this would be a good time for you. Maybe you've got 3 numbers at the lock that needs 4 numbers. And you've already got 3 already dialed in from, the sermons you've heard and the lyrics of the songs you've listened to and personal conversations and meetings and trainings and seminars and books you've read, all of that. Right? You've got the 3 numbers. And just maybe, this weekend could well be that 4th number for you that you've been looking for. And the lock will open and the door will open, and there could be some real, new, accelerated opportunity for you over the next few years of your life. So I hope that's true. From what I have to say and from Dennis and Brian and other speakers that are going to share with you, this could be a very important weekend for you. I hope it's one of those life-changing weekends where you look back and say, wow, I was never the same. And the chances are excellent if you keep going to as many things as you can get to in terms of information, ideas, seminars, lectures. Because if you go continuously and systematically, some of them may be ordinary, and then just once in a while, some may be extraordinary, and you're never the same again. And you look back on that experience and say, that was one of the days that turned my life around. So I hope here and the rest of the speakers, this is one of those extraordinary weekends for you. Here's another note to make. No one person has all the answers. No one person has all the ideas. We need to gather ideas from a variety of voices and from a variety of experience, from social to personal to political to the management of time, the conservation of resources, business, entrepreneur, career, all of that. Being a good parent, a good mother, being a good father, being a good friend, a business colleague. You've got to have a whole variety of ideas. So this weekend, we're going to have a chance for that. Multiple speakers and a chance for multiple ideas to come your way. Next is a little phrase that I'd like to have you memorize. And if you memorize it, I'm sure it will follow you for the rest of your life. And if you're ready, say, I'm ready. Here's the phrase. You can write it down as we memorize it. Here it is. From testimonials and personal experience, repeat that for me. From testimonials and personal experience, we have enough information to conclude. I'll let you write it down. We have enough information to conclude. So repeat for me. We have enough information to conclude. If you were composing this, I don't know what you would write after this. We have enough information to conclude that it's possible. Jot that down, that it's possible. So repeat for me, that it's possible. And the rest. To design and live an extraordinary life. Take that note, to design and live an extraordinary life. So repeat that for me. To design and live an extraordinary life. Now, let's repeat it from the beginning. Here we go. From testimonials and personal experience, we have enough information to conclude that it's possible to design and live an extraordinary life. I hope you will give that little phrase some consideration. And here's what's next. I hope you buy the idea that from testimonials and personal experience, we have enough information to conclude that it's possible to design and live an extraordinary life. And what I want this weekend to be for you is the gathering of more ways and means to design and live for you an extraordinary life. I don't know how far you want to go. Here's the first essence of life, and that is self-preservation. To produce enough to take care of yourself. The instructions given right to the couple that left the Garden of Eden. One was to multiply. It's a lonely place with only 2 people. But here are the next instructions. To be fruitful. How fruitful, how productive should one be? And here's number 1. To produce enough to survive. To produce enough to take care of yourself. And self-care is important. If you're flying on an airplane, the flight attendant says that for some reason we run out of oxygen. These oxygen masks will fall from the ceiling. And if you have children with you, quickly take care of them, then take care of yourself. No. They say what? Put your mask on first. Put your mask on first. See to your survival first. Then you'll be more capable of taking care of the survival of your children. Isn't that interesting? My father had an interesting saying. He said, son, right after me, you come first. No, that's okay. was in business with Bob Cummings, the old movie star. We were in the health and nutrition business together back in the 60s, 61, 2, 3. Bob had an interesting saying. Here's what he said: I'll take care of me for you. Will you please take care of you for me? So the first challenge in life is to take care of yourself. It is to survive. So, to produce enough to survive, to take care of yourself. But now what's next? Well, all alone, it's a lonely life. So let's say the man now chooses a partner. Now he must figure out how to produce enough for himself and his spouse, his wife, his partner. Someone says, well, why do that? Why not just take care of yourself? And the answer is, it's a very small life. It's a very limited life. We wouldn't call it flourishing. We wouldn't call it abundance. Just taking care of yourself. That is the first rule, but that's only the beginning. So the man gets married. Now he must produce enough for himself and for his wife. And here's the key phrase to make a note of: to live the higher life. A life of togetherness. The storyteller says, it seems even God didn't want to be alone. He created all of these angels. So, to join with someone now, you must produce enough for yourself, for your partner. Now, is that it? And the answer is no. How about children? Let us have children. That's a unique experience. Well, now if a man has a wife and now he has children, here's the challenge: to produce enough for himself and his family. Now someone says, well, why take on all of that? Why not just take care of yourself? You could, yes, but you couldn't live this more extraordinary life without taking on the responsibility of having a partner, having some children, and live that kind of extraordinary life. So I think everybody would agree. Now, is that the end of it? No. Here's the next challenge: to produce more than you need for yourself and for your family. Someone says, well, now why start being ridiculous? Yes, produce enough for yourself. Well, yes, if you want to get married, produce enough for yourself and for your spouse. Now, with children, produce enough for your family, but why do more than that? And jot down the answer: to live a more extraordinary life. So now the man produces more than he needs for himself and for his children, so that he can be a person of benevolence, so that he can give, and so that he can share. That's the more abundant, that's the more extraordinary life. To produce more than you need for yourself and for your children. Is that it? Let's take it a couple more steps. How about producing much more than you need for yourself and for your family? Someone says, well, now you're off the scale. I mean, why work that hard? Why go that far? Why produce that much? Some would say, just take care of yourself. Some would say, just, get a partner and that's it. And then children and that's it. And be a bit benevolent and that's it. But why not go this next step and produce much more than you need for yourself and for your children? And when someone says, why do that? All of us know the answer, right? Why not? If you've got the talent and the skill and the opportunity, why not put all of that together and see if you can produce much more than you need for yourself and for your family? Let's say you earned $10 million this year, and you and your family only need $3 million. Which would probably cover most families, right? Some families are more expensive than others, as I discovered. But let's say $3 million would, cover a big, high percentage. So now if you and your family only needed $3 million for the year, now you have $7 million to give. And someone says, what? Why do that? And the obvious answer is what? Why not? If you've got the talent and the skill and the time and the opportunity and the occasion and all this stuff comes together, why not? Let's go one more. How about producing far more than you need for yourself and for your and live the far more life? We've heard the story of Andrew Carnegie, right? Andrew Carnegie said this. He built the big steel industry back in the 20s here in America. Here was Andrew Carnegie's goal. I'm going to spend the first half of my life earning money. I'm going to spend the last half of my life giving it all away. Isn't that extraordinary? Wouldn't you call that an extraordinary life? And the answer is yes. He got so excited by that goal that the first half of his life, he earned $400 million, which back then was a lot of money. I mean, now, right, it doesn't seem to be that much, but, you know, maybe back then it would total $40 billion, like today. So $40 billion he earned the first half of his life. Guess what he did with the last half of his life? He gave it all. And the big question is, why do that? And the answer is, why not? If you've got the opportunity to live, design and live an extraordinary life, you know, why not do that? So here's what I want this weekend to be for you. Plenty of ideas to take home, chew on, digest, you know, throw some away, refine some, you know, accept some, do some, whatever. That's what this weekend is ready for. To send you home with a whole new library of thoughts to ponder, ideas to try, disciplines to work out, some skills to learn. And if we do that and do it well this weekend, you will say, hey, it was certainly worth the time and the money to go to that weekend Jim Rohn seminar, Jim Rohn and Friends. Now make these notes. What I hope you find here this weekend: ideas plus inspiration. That's the mixture that really turns things on, you know, sends a entrepreneur program into high gear. Ideas plus inspiration. We need ideas for the goals and plans, and we need inspiration for the emotional vitality to put it to work, to make it grow, make it multiply. And here's what else I hope you'll find here: guidelines for translating response into results. You've responded to the call, come, search, look, listen, take notes, get it, to take home with you. And I'm sure you're going to respond well to the, you know, seasoned teaching and training that is going to be delivered here this weekend. But here's the key: guidelines for translating response into results. Because results is the name of the game. There's no purpose in learning just for learning's sake. Wisdom and faith, as powerful as those components are, serve no useful purpose unless they are deposited. So make a note of the word, deposited. Wisdom and faith deposited into activity. Wisdom and faith put to work. Now produces a hotel, produces a Salk vaccine, produces a city, produces an institution of learning, produces a career, produces a relationship. Right? Ideas and faith, believing that it's possible that ideas can work miracles, now put to work. So the big job here is getting it all. And so now make the next note. Next is going home and translating it into high activity. Good health activity, a better relationship activity, an entrepreneur program activity, a new burst of speed in your sales career, all of that. That's what I'm really interested in. Because here's what's important to me: is for my name once in a while to appear in someone's testimonial. Make that note. If one of life's greatest experiences is when your name appears in somebody's testimonial. Somebody says, here's the person who found me. Here's the person who got me started. Well, here's the person who wouldn't let me quit. Gave me more reasons for staying than some reasons. Here's the person who believed in me until I could believe in myself. And then they mention your name. You can't buy that with money. And you don't have to give lectures and seminars to do it. You don't have to have an audience like this for the weekend in order to deliver value to someone's life. What if you had breakfast with a friend at Denny's 4 years ago, and you recommended this book that really meant a lot to you, and you said to your friend, you've got to read this book. I think it'll make a major contribution to your life. And your friend accepted the idea, went and got the book. Now, 4 years later, he's giving a testimonial. His business has flourished, his marriage is saved, things are going extremely well, and someone says, where did this all begin for you? And he will say, 4 years ago, at Denny's coffee shop, I sat with my friend, and he insisted that I read this book. I went and got it. And that book led to the next book, that led to the next class, that led to developing skills I never had before, and that led to some more seminars and lectures, and now look at my business, look at my life, it's flourishing. But it all began 4 years ago, Denny's coffee shop, when someone said, you've got to read this book. See, that's a person-to-person summary. And those are just as valuable as person to 1,000, person to 10,000. It doesn't matter the number. If you have a chance to deliver, quote a poem, recommend a book, here's a phrase, like I gave you this one to memorize. I think you'll remember this one maybe for a long, long time. Just something that's really extra meaningful to someone. Whether it's at breakfast or wherever it is, whether it's for a child or whether it's for an adult, a friend, a business associate. If you'll keep up that process, I promise you, your name will continue to appear in people's testimony. And now I've had this happy experience now for the last 40, 45 years. And so that's one of the reasons why I came here this weekend. I don't need the money. I've long ago made my fortune. I take the money, but I don't need the money. But here's what I do need. Continuing testimonials that say, Mr. Rowan, on a summer day in Anaheim, California at the Marriott, I was there that weekend. And something clicked, and the lights went on. And I got the gift of some good ideas. Here's what's happened to me. Then they mention my name. See, that's what I want. Continuing testimonials that come back to me saying thanks for sharing my news. Okay. To get the most out of this weekend, jot these notes down now. Number one, be thankful for what you already have. Thanksgiving sets up the situation where ideas can flow. Here's what locks up the doors of opportunity for good ideas, and that's cynicism. All you have to be is a practiced cynic. Cynical about government, and cynical about politics, and cynical about the future, cynical about the economy. Cynicism locks all the doors. But if you'll be thankful for what you have, however modest or however much it is, I think that's the beginning of receiving a flow of new ideas. Here's the next one. Be eager to learn. There's already some extraordinary success stories in this room. If we knew how successful, we would give you the podium. I would be happy to take notes. No matter how successful you are, be willing to learn some more. We in the Millionaires Club invite a billionaire once in a while to come talk to us. And he said, well, you guys are doing okay, but how about stepping up? How about multiplying by 2, by 3, by 5, by 10? Come on, you've just gotten started. So no matter how well you're doing, we can all use another idea, a couple of other things that link together with what you already know to give you a whole new burst of productivity and extraordinary lifestyle. Then to get the most out of this session this weekend, you have to do what we call some chopped listening. And sometimes it's easy to gather, it's difficult to gather up everyone's, attention because our lives really seem to be going on outside this room. A part of our life is going on here while we're here. But some of us, our kids are out there, and our business is out there, and our career is out there, and our job is out there, and everything is out there. So sometimes it's difficult to bring yourself within the framework, inside these four walls, and just really concentrate and do your best to get it all. Because